This week on the Racing Insiders, we go to Road America to cover the Grand Dam Rolex race, the Continental Tire Sports Car race, and we get special analysis from guest host Greg Kramer on the ALMS race. We've got Global Rallycross from Atlanta, and R U Kidden Me? We're covering all of it. Sports car racing like you've never heard it before. The Racing Insiders next. Welcome back to another edition of the Racing Insiders, the only place in broadcasting. You're going to get sports car content every week. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles. Jim Daniels is in Memphis, Tennessee. And Peter Keene is at Road America with the Spirit of Daytona team. Peter, what happened with the race? A great race. What happened?
Well, Bill, it was a great race. You know, it was very competitive at the beginning, but once again, the BMWs just have the big advantage. You know, Hartley did a great job in the 8 car and drove away at the end there. And that new BMW engine package with the 6-speed is just really strong. So it was a good race. It was a good competitive race all along until it was time to go, and Hartley just checked out.
What happened with the Nana makers, the Team Solons? They've been back markers, and suddenly this week they're running away with everything.
Well, essentially, Bill, I think what happened there is that all the other BMW teams were sandbagging, and that's all that. That's how good that BMW is. You know, the Salins guys were on the pole. Not to take anything away from Katie Crawford, she does a great job, and you know, Dane Cameron, I mean, he can wheel the car, but you know, that's where their program is right now with that BMW power. They're probably, you know, the best, as long as I mean, all weekend long, I knew the 2 car and the 0-1 were going to be strong in the race. They were riding around, you know, and just sandbag until then. And I mean, not to take anything away from the Salem guys, you know, or Katie Crawford, they do a great job. But I think they were running all out, and the other guys were playing politics.
So, Peter, what about the GT race? It was back and forth. The BMWs looked like they had the field covered, though?
Well, it was definitely back and forth. You know, I don't know, with 45 minutes to go, it looked like it was going to be the Porsche Ferrari show. And then once again, Turner does a great job with the BMW, and you can't ever hold back Billy Oberlin. But, you know, that's a great win for Turner and Oberlin, because, I mean, they don't even know what their program is next year. I don't even know if they're going to let 2 cars race and GTD next year. So, I mean, their future's kind of up in the air, just like ours. And, you know, so that's a great win for the Turner guys. I'm glad to see that you know, an old 2-frame car, you know, goes in and wins this race.
And the Ferrari, Lee Keen, he was really dominant in the middle of the race and went away at the end.
Yeah, no, you know, that's just, again, a tribute to how good Billy Oberlin is. You know, he put it on him there at the end, and you know, I was kind of glad to see it.
A lot of people don't realize, talking about that BMW there, Peter, is that's exactly the same chassis as the old RX-8 GT cars, reskinned and with the BMW engine. So it has Daytona Prototype hubs and uprights and things like that in it that they use. So they're reskinned that car for the Sky Active Mazda 6. We know that car is going to be in GT next year. They approved it. I can't see they're not going to let them reskin that car and/or run it like it is next year in GT.
No, to be honest, Jim, what I've heard is that it's only going to be tub cars in GT next year. There won't be any more tube cars. So.
Well, we've heard a lot, but what I'm saying is they made the announcement that GX car was going to run like it is in GT with improved power, and the GX class is leaving. That's the exact same chassis as the BMW.
Yeah, I can't reveal it all yet, but I can tell you right now that there won't be a Mazda GT car next year.
Okay.
There you go. That sort of nails it, doesn't it, Jim?
Yeah,
it does.
You're not going to give us any clue? We're your buddies. You're not going to give us any clue here, Peter?
Well, I'm saying that Sylvain Tremblay does such a good job. I would look for him to move up. I don't think he's going to be in the GT ranks next year. That's all I'm going to say about that. How's that?
Wow, there's something straight from the Racing Insiders. We've got the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race at Road America, plus a Global Rallycross. You won't believe who won and how they did it in Atlanta. That's the Racing Insiders coming up right after this.
Let us know what you think about what the Racing Insiders have to say. Tell us on Facebook and Twitter. Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new GoRacingTV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to the Racing Insiders Speed Beats. Hope you like that great editing. It's Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Jim, what's going on with that at Road America?
Hey, I love that we get to do this on the show before it airs. It's true inside information. If you don't want to know what happened in the race, you might want to look away. But what a battle we had in both classes. It seemed no one wanted to lead this race. About 30 minutes to go was when it was actually decided. And here's the kicker for you. Both classes were decided on the drivers that could manage the fuel the best. That Rumbum got the win in GS. They were thought they were going to run out of gas every few of those last laps, and as did the ST BMW of the Beamer World guys. And this is after Mazdas had led and dominated. Pierre Kleinmübing was at the front, had some sort of an issue right there close at the end of the go. And as it all turns out, and they got into the press conference after the race, all of those guys could not believe they made it on fuel to win that race. And I mean, people like Spencer Pumpelly, et cetera, went out with this fuel and having to pit late in the race. And the championships, these guys that won the races were in the hunt, but all of their competitors around them either didn't finish or didn't finish well. So the points really got shook up this week, Bill.
It was a great race, and I really hope that this Continental Tire Series, that it gets to grow a little bit after this merger. We've watched this past weekend all the teams in one place, Grand Am and ALMS. I hope that this Continental Tire Series can grow. You think it will, Jim? It's a good learning ground for guys that are coming up through the ranks.
Absolutely. It's a driver's coach heaven. The good news is they announced this weekend that Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2 is going to pick up the series for 2014 through 2018. So they got their TV announcement along with the Daytona Prototype and GT series and the United Sports Car series, actually. They did make that announcement, 2014 to 2018. It's a done deal. We're going to see the fabulous Grand Sport and Street Tuner classes return, which is exactly what you said. It's a great proving ground. It also keeps a lot of teams employed. A lot of people work for these teams, and you cut your teeth as engineers, as crew chiefs, as drivers, tire specialists, you name it. This is where you can get a job and learn how to race in Continental Tire Challenge. Bill?
It really is a good place. Let's go to Global Rallycross, another place that they're learning how to race. Is a different kind of racecraft. They had a few thousand people there in Atlanta who were watching this and seemed to be enjoying it. It was a rough and tumble kind of race. Ken Block, who won a heat, didn't get started in the final. Once again, Tomas Heikkinen went through the crowd, got a clean start to the race, won his 5th in a row. This is the hottest guy in Global Rallycross by far. He was being chased by Tanner Faust toward the end before Faust got a flat tire. And third was Sverre Isaksson, the same podium that they had in Los Angeles. Heikkinen gets the win. Tanner was second. Sverre Isaksson was third. It's a huge, huge opportunity for Heikkinen to take the championship. I think mathematically he could still lose it. I'm not sure about that. The championship basically is his. He's already won it in his mind. He certainly deserves it. 5 wins in a row. They've only had 7 rounds. It's a huge, huge opportunity for him. There was a chance earlier in the afternoon. Sverre Isaksson got into a big tumble with Heikkinen in one of the heats. They penalized him for rough driving. They talked to Isaksson. Isaksson said, "Look, I'm the 3-time champion in Europe. I don't know why they're doing this to me." To me, you could see the frustration in his voice. He's ready to win, and I think when he gets his new car that was built in Sweden, when that comes around, he's going to be winning, and Heikkinen better have his championship in place before Isaksson gets all of his marbles in a row. That's the Global Rallycross Continental Tire. We've got the ALMS coming right after this. This is the Racing Insiders. We'll be right back.
This segment of the Racing Insiders was brought to you by GoRacingTV.com, for racers by racers.
The ALMS round at Road America this weekend. With us right now is Greg Kramer, part of the ALMS television package. Greg has been following the series all year, obviously. He's got in-depth analysis that you won't hear anywhere else, except the Racing Insiders. Greg, an exciting race, number of headlines. The biggest headline maybe is the GT winner, the Viper. They get their first win a year into the program.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It was really a sea change, if you will, in the GT category. This was the first track that the Vipers had come to that they had previous data on. Remember, they only started last year. Their first race was at Mid-Ohio, which we didn't run, the American Le Mans Series didn't run at. And so when they showed up at Road America for the race, they actually had some data. One of the amazing stories was when they got on track, they were actually running 5 seconds a lap faster than they were when they were here last year, showing the pace of the development of that program. And Jonathan Bomarito put the car on pole and obliterated the track record, beating everybody by 0.8 of a second. But when the race got going, it was a fascinating race for the simple reason that it started wet and went to dry. So you had lots of different tire strategies, people making decisions, not everybody doing it at the same time to go to the dry tires. And then on top of it, as always seems to happen at Road America, it became a fuel race in certain areas, and the 91 Viper in the hands of Mark Goossens and Dominic Farnbacher had gone to the front at that point after a huge battle with the Corvettes, but they were not going to make it on fuel. It was that close, but at the very end there was a huge wreck by one of the GT Challenge Porsches, the number 11 car, and as a result it finished under caution. Goossens able to backpedal a little bit during the caution lap, saved just enough to limp it across and bring home the first win for Viper. And they could say, all right, it was a fuel win, yes, but they showed the pace throughout the weekend, and with the right amount of fuel, nobody was going to touch Goossens on this day. They were just that hooked up, Bill.
At the front of the field was Muscle Milk. I think Klaus Graf drove the car to the finish line. But the other headline was the Delta Wing with Catherine Legge at the beginning of the race. They were mammothly fast. Have they finally crossed the barrier?
Well, I think it was a huge moment for the team. They knew coming here this was the kind of track that would suit the car. Very low drag because it doesn't have the wings that stick up that help create downforce but produce a lot of drag. And the other component here is the physics of that car make it very effective in long duration high speed corners. Well, 1, carousel, kink, 7, 14. Those are all corners here that really suited that car's style. And so when that car had the opportunity, it was very quick. The other part of it, though, was strategy. They brought Catherine Legge in before anybody else did to put her onto dry tires. So when the rest of the stop cycled, she found herself up front. And at that point, she was throwing down some exceptionally quick laps. Now, yes, the Pickett Racing Muscle Milk car, which has been the class of the field all year, had them covered by a few seconds a lap and eventually ran them down. But then pit stop cycled again. When Andy, after an early caution, people pitted, Catherine was back in the lead again. And it happened one more time when they got up front. In the end, due to just some circumstances, if you will, and the speed of the Pickett car, that car won, and the Dyson car was able to actually get in front and finish second in class. But that was more of a strategy coming apart a little bit at the end. But for the first time, the car actually finished and saw the checkers, and did so with some really superb pace. And I think this has been a sea change moment for the Delta Wing development program. They now know they can get to the end of these races, and they can do it with speed. Big day for them for sure.
That's really good to hear. They worked hard, they deserve to get that car up front. Now, Greg Kramer, I'm going to ask you a question that I don't think you know the answer to. I don't know if anybody does, but this is pure speculation on my part. I keep hearing noises that would sort of indicate that Muscle Milk may not be around next year. The Lucas Lohr is talking about maybe running IndyCar. He said this is the last time we're going to see cars like this at this track. You get that feeling?
It is an unknown. There is no question about that. Lucas is going to be running in the IndyCar series with support from Muscle Milk at Sonoma in a couple of weeks. But it's been no secret that he's always wanted to at least try IndyCar racing. with his muscle milk connection, maybe that's a direction they're going to go. We do know they are exploring options, that's for sure. But we also know that those options do include the possibility of coming back, running the new United Series, and running basically an LMP2 car in that category. No decisions have been made. Rumors are rampant, but they are for a lot of teams. It would be a sad day indeed if sports car road racing lost the Muscle Milk Pickett team.
All right, Greg Kramer, you're an analyst. Give me some analysis. What do you think is going to happen with both Team Muscle Milk and maybe Dyson Racing? Are they going to come back in P2 cars next year?
Well, Dyson Racing has actually already made that announcement. That's why Chris Dyson and Guy Smith are not running anymore, and they've turned that car over to Chris McMurray and Tony Burgess for most of the year. They will be back and run a couple of races, and including the Petit Le Mans, of course, as it's the historic last American Le Mans series, only Petit Le Mans. But they have said that's why they're stepping back. They're starting the development on their P2 program. So it's a pretty sure deal, I think, that Dyson will be back. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Pickett. And the other question is the Delta Wing car, in terms of the cars running right now, that car needs to get classified into that new P2 category. They should be able to do that easily with balance of performance. They're still moving forward with the new coupe version of that car. So the possibilities are that that car will also have a place to race.
Greg Kramer, analyst, ALMS, part of the web show on the ALMS package on ESPN3. Thanks, partner. The analysis was huge. It's good to hear from you. As far as the racing insiders, we'll be right back. Much more ahead.
This segment was brought to you by the Sports Car Club of America.
Are you kidding me?
Welcome back. Our favorite segment, Are You Kidding Me? This is the Racing Insiders. Peter, let's go right to you. What's going on in your mind?
Well, Bill, I hate to just beat a dead horse, but my Are You Kidding Me is we still don't know what we're doing for next year. You know, they had a big team owners meeting last night at the off stop, and we still didn't learn anything. It's just, I don't know what's going on. It sounds like the P2 cars are going to stay the same. I mean, I think the series is going to be really, really good with the GTLM, the LMPC cars, and the GTD cars. But this Daytona Prototypes and the P2 guys just have no idea where we're going to be. And I mean, here it is, the middle of August, and I mean, it's kind of disheartening, to be honest with you. I mean, the faces are, even the guys that used to really spin this and be, positive about what's going to happen, are now starting to turn, and they got to tell these teams something soon. It's just kind of going away. That's my Are You Kidding Me?
How about you, Jim? What's going on in your head?
Well, look, this merger is going to be great. We've all agreed with that. Something's going to work out with it, Peter. But my Are You Kidding Me is more from the fan perspective and from the crew's perspective. We had quite the cluster on pit lane today with the DP guys trying to set up their pit stalls with the Continental race pretty much going on. And that was because I'm assuming the ALMS stuff was all already set up for tomorrow. It wasn't fun. Lots of chatter on Twitter about how difficult that was. The other thing is, really, Continental Racing is not televised, and we don't even have a radio station that we can listen to it on any of these internet stations. It's one of the best races that there was. You're having to follow it from Twitter. You're having to hope your cable broadcaster carries speed too. Come on, guys. The Continental guys deserve to be on TV. There's a fans for it to be on TV. It needs to happen. That's my Are You Kidding Me, Bill?
You know, Jim, you took the words right out of my mouth. That Continental Tire Series is the best. It's great racing. It deserves a fan base, and I think it would have one if it was given the opportunity. My Are You Kidding Me is Global Rallycross in general. They had several thousand people at Atlanta Motor Speedway last Saturday to watch the race. A good show. People are starting to buy into this, but the problem is you put 5,000-10,000 people in 100,000 seats, it looks like nobody's there. Somehow there's got to be an investment in a series of tracks that are just for Global Rallycross. They're just for Rallycross. That would allow the series to build some new drivers. The Global Rallycross lights, the Supercar lights class, great racing, fender to fender, a pass in the last corner for the win last Saturday. These guys are coming. If you're not in the Global Rallycross mindset, you better get there because it's going to be one of the hot things coming up very soon. That's my Are You Kidding Me? There's still a lot more ahead on the Racing Insiders, including what's going on this weekend, our calendar, what we're going to be doing. Come on back. There's still a lot to come. Here's some things you should be paying attention to in sports car racing this coming weekend. Grand Am is at Kansas Speedway. The Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge will be joining them at Kansas Speedway. The DTM is at Nürburgring, a home track for many of the drivers. And Super GT is at Suzuka, coming up this week. That's what's going to be going on the racetrack. Peter, what do you have in mind for this weekend?
Well, Bill, I guess with Spirit of Daytona, we'll fix our broken stuff and load up and hand to Kansas. I guess it's going to be a hot one over there. I do got to say it was good to see my good buddy Antonio Garcia in the paddock again, you know, with Team Corvette. So a lot of friendly faces here this weekend. It was a great weekend.
How about you, Jim? What's going on with you?
One of my favorite DTM races at the Nürburgring is coming up, and I'm going to get all poised with the popcorn, and I'm going to send some little violins down over to Peter to soften him up.
The DTM, people need to follow that. Just like I touted Global Rallycross in the last segment, DTM is something you should be watching. Really great racing, some new heroes, people that have got past. You need to follow DTM. That's the Racing Insiders for this week. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles. Jim Daniels is in Memphis, Tennessee. Peter King's in Road America this weekend in Wisconsin with the Grand Am, the Spirit of Daytona team. It's good to see him there at the racetrack. Have a great week. Take care of each other. Respect each other. This is the Racing Insiders. We'll be back next week. Hope you're there too.